Welcome back to another episode of Valuable Coins, where we dive deep into the world of numismatics, uncovering the most valuable and unique coins in the market today. If you're a coin enthusiast, collector, or simply interested in the incredible value of rare coins, you're in the right place. In today's video, we will explore two of the most fascinating and expensive United States coins currently circulating the auction market.
First up, the 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, especially those in damaged condition. What's their value today? And is a damaged coin still worth something? The Lincoln wheat penny was minted from 1909 to 1958, featuring a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1946 penny is part of that series, struck after World War II, and it carries a special historical significance. The pennies minted in 1946 without any mint mark were made at the Philadelphia Mint, the largest and oldest U.S. mint facility. Why no mint mark? Well, until 1942, Philadelphia pennies generally didn't have a mint mark, and that continued for some years after. So the 1946 pennies without a mint mark are definitely from Philadelphia. Here's what you want to look for. On the front, you have the classic Lincoln portrait, with the words "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1946 on the right. On the back, the wheat stalks are still sharp and detailed, unless your coin is damaged. Of course, coin grading is all about condition, from mint state perfect to poor, heavily worn, or damaged. Damaged coins might have scratches, corrosion, bends, or missing parts. Naturally, this affects their value as of today. A 1946 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in uncirculated or excellent condition can be worth around $100, depending on appeal. But what about damaged coins? For damaged coins, say those with heavy scratches, corrosion, or bent edges, values drop significantly. These can often be worth just face value, or about 1 cent. However, certain types of damage might make a coin interesting to niche collectors. So, what does the market say? In recent years, Lincoln wheat pennies have maintained steady interest, but damaged ones typically sell for very little unless they have rare errors. If you're thinking about selling, consider having your coin professionally graded, especially if it might have a unique feature. Otherwise, local coin shops or online auctions can help you find a beer. To sum it up, the 1946 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a classic piece of Americana. In damaged condition, its typical value ranges from a penny to a couple of dollars. Unless you have a rare error, always keep an eye out for those hidden gems. Next up, the 1949S with an S mint mark, especially in extremely fine condition. What makes this penny so special? How much is it really worth today? Stick around because we're unpacking all of that right now. The Lincoln wheat penny is a staple of American coinage history. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, this penny featured the iconic wheat ears on the reverse side, hence the name wheat penny. They were minted until 1958 before the design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Among all these pennies, some dates and mint marks carry a lot more value due to rarity, condition, and collector demand. One such coin is the 1949 penny struck at the San Francisco Mint, indicated by the S mint mark. So what makes the 1949S Lincoln wheat penny so valuable? Well, a few things. First, the S mint mark means it was made at the San Francisco Mint, which produced fewer pennies that year compared to Philadelphia or Denver. This lower mintage contributes to its relative rarity. In 1949, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 442 million pennies. Denver struck around 130 million. But San Francisco only minted about 28 million. That's a significant difference, making the San Francisco coins harder to come by now. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A penny might be rare, but if it's heavily worn or damaged, its value drops drastically. That's why collectors seek coins in higher grades like extremely fine, or EF. This grade indicates a coin with light wear on the highest points, but overall sharp detail and a nice eye appeal. An extremely fine 1949s Lincoln Wheat Penny will show crisp lettering on the front and back, with only minor wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, and the wheat stalks on the reverse still clearly visible and well-defined. So, what's the current market value for this coin? As of 2025, prices for a 1949s Lincoln Wheat Penny in extremely fine condition can range from about $150, depending on factors like eye appeal, luster, and slight variances in grading. However, coins that verge on about uncirculated or MS60 conditions can fetch much higher prices, sometimes upwards of $200 or more. Remember, market prices fluctuate based on collector demand and overall coin market trends. If you find one in your change, it's always worth having it appraised by a professional coin dealer or graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. To summarize, the 1949s Lincoln Wheat Penny is a valuable piece of American history, especially in higher grades like extremely fine. Its relatively low mintage and connection to Lincoln make it a must-have for serious collectors. If you're lucky enough to own one, or find one, hold on to it or get it professionally graded. It could be worth more than you think. Next up, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the coveted S Mint mark. If you've got one of these coins tucked away, or you're just curious about its value, stick around because we're breaking down everything you need to know, from its history and rarity to its current market value in today's dollars. Alright, let's start with a quick background. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the Wheat Cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. These coins were minted all the way through 1958 and feature the iconic wheat ears on the reverse side, hence the name. The 1951 penny is part of the later years of this series, but still holds a special place in many collectors' hearts. So, what makes the 1951's Lincoln Wheat Penny special? The S Mint mark tells us that this penny was minted in San Francisco. San Francisco coins often have lower mintages compared to Philadelphia and Denver, which can affect their rarity and value. For 1951's pennies, the mintage was around 449 million, still a large number but less than some other mint marks from that year. The San Francisco Mint has a long history of producing coins with lower mintages, which tends to increase interest among collectors, but when it comes to value, condition is key. Condition, or coin grading, plays a huge role in determining the value of any coin. Collectors typically use a scale from poor to mint state. For the 1951's Wheat Penny, coins in good or fine condition might only be worth a few cents to a couple of dollars. But if your penny is in extremely fine or mint state condition, things get much more interesting in today's market. A 1951's Lincoln Wheat Penny in uncirculated or mint condition can fetch anywhere from $190, depending on the exact grade. But if you're lucky enough to have a coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC with a high grade, say MS65 or above, the value can skyrocket to over $195. Now, remember, grading coins yourself can be tricky. It's always best to get your coin professionally graded if you think it might be valuable. Not only does this authenticate your coin, but it also boosts beer confidence if you decide to sell. So, to wrap up, the 1951's Lincoln Wheat Penny is a coin with both historical charm and potential value, especially if it's in great condition. If you're a collector or just someone who found one in your pocket, keep an eye on the coin's condition and maybe consider getting it graded professionally. Who knows, you might just be sitting on a hidden treasure. Next up, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny in what many collectors call dirty condition. You might be wondering, can a penny that looks worn and grimy still be valuable? And if so, how much could it be worth in today's market? Well, stick around, because we're about to find out. The 1952 penny was minted in Denver, and it's part of the Wheat Penny series that was produced from 1909 all the way to 1958. These coins have the iconic Lincoln portrait on the front, and the two stalks of wheat on the reverse, hence the name Wheat Penny. The D-Mint mark indicates that the coin was minted in Denver, which is key because mint marks can affect a coin's rarity and value. The 195-D wheat penny had a pretty high mintage, over 1 billion coins produced. So it's not exactly rare in pristine condition. But here's the catch. While the 1952D isn't rare, certain conditions can make it more valuable to collectors. And today, we're focusing on the dirty condition category. So, what do we mean by dirty condition? This refers to coins that have significant wear, dirt buildup, corrosion, or other marks that reduce their visual appeal. Typically, coins in this condition are worth only their face value, 1 cent, but not always. Some dirty pennies might still hold value because of a few reasons. These include rare mint errors, unusual colorations, or coins with historical significance. However, the 195-D wheat penny doesn't have many major error varieties that boost its price substantially. Most 195-D wheat pennies in dirty condition are worth about $180 to collectors, mostly for their copper content or as a base collectible. But there are exceptions when a coin has an unusual feature or is still in surprisingly decent shape despite being dirty. Keep in mind, grading coins accurately requires some expertise, and cleaning coins can sometimes hurt their value instead of helping it. Many collectors prefer the natural patina, even if it's dirty. So if you find a dirty 195-D wheat penny in your change, my advice? Don't clean it, leave it as is, and maybe get it checked by a professional numismatist if you suspect it has any unique features. To sum it up, the 195-D Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition is generally not a high-value coin, often just a few cents at most, but its historical charm and place in the Lincoln wheat penny series make it a neat little collectible for any coin enthusiast. Next up, the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. And we'll talk about what makes this coin valuable, especially when found in fine condition. Plus, I'll share what you can expect in today's market if you happen to have one in your collection. So if you're a coin collector or just curious about coin values, stay tuned. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, replacing the Indian head penny. The obverse features the iconic profile of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse shows two wheat ears, hence the nickname wheat penny. These coins were minted from 1909 all the way to 1958. The 1937 Lincoln wheat penny, especially the one without a mint mark, was produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 1937. Over 683 million pennies were minted here, making it a relatively common date. But don't let that fool you. Condition and rarity play huge roles in determining value. When we talk about coin condition, collectors use a grading scale from poor all the way to mint state. A fine grade means the coin shows moderate wear but still has clear details. On a 1937 wheat penny, this means you can see the major design elements, Lincoln's profile, the date, and the wheat ears, but some fine details are worn down. Here's a 1937 wheat penny in fine condition. You can see Lincoln's features are visible, but the high points show some wear. The wheat stalks on the back are still mostly intact, but not crisp like in higher grades. So, what is a 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark worth in fine condition today? Well, prices can vary depending on the beer and market conditions, but generally, you can expect it to be valued around $200. Zero on the collector market. While this isn't an extremely high value, it's definitely above face value and a nice little find in your pocket change. To put this into perspective, more common wheat pennies in poor condition might only fetch a penny or two over face value, while rarer dates or mint marks, like the 1909 SVDB or the 1955 double die, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars now. If you find a 1937 wheat penny in better condition, like very fine or extremely fine, the value jumps up, sometimes reaching a few dollars. And if you find one with errors, such as doubling or minting mistakes, it could be worth even more. Here are a few quick tips if you want to spot fine condition 1937 wheat pennies. Look for visible lines on Lincoln's cheek and jaw, some detail in his coat, and at least partial wheat stalks that don't look completely smooth or worn down. Next up, the 1951D Lincoln Wheat Penny, but with a twist. We're going to talk about its value even when it's in damaged condition. That's right, damaged coins can still have some serious value, and this penny is a perfect example, so stick around if you want to find out how much these coins are worth in today's market, especially if your coin isn't in pristine shape first. A quick refresher. The 1951D Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in Denver as indicated by the famous D mint mark just below the date on the coin's front side. Lincoln Wheat Pennies were minted from 1909 all the way through 1958, making them a beloved series among collectors for over 50 years. Mintage numbers and collector demand make certain years and mint marks stand out. The D mint mark means it was struck in Denver, which often had lower mintages than Philadelphia and San Francisco. In 1951, the Denver Mint produced approximately 567 million pennies, a decent number, but not as high as other years. That means 1951D pennies aren't the rarest Lincoln Wheat pennies, but they're definitely collectible. Collectors aim for coins in good to mint state condition. But what if your 1951D penny is damaged? Maybe it's scratched, corroded, or worn down from years of circulation. Can it still be valuable? Damage can range from minor surface scratches and discoloration to heavy corrosion, bending, or cleaning marks. In numismatics, damage usually decreases a coin's value because it takes away from the original strike, and details collectors seek. Damaged coins, especially those with rare mint marks or low mintages, can still be worth a good amount, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of dollars, roughly $200. These coins show heavy wear, but date and mint mark are still visible now. What about those damaged pennies? Well, if your 1951D penny is scratched, corroded, or bent, the value will drop significantly, but don't throw it away just yet. These coins can still be worth $200 depending on how bad the damage is and whether the date and mint mark are still readable. The real kicker is that certain types of damage can actually make a coin collectible as they create an interesting error or anomaly. For example, double strikes, off-center strikes, or unique die cracks can turn a damaged 1951D penny into a rare collectible. So, if your damaged 1951D penny has any unusual features, you might want to get it appraised by a professional numismatist, or even graded by services like PCGS or NGC. These graders can authenticate and grade error coins, which could boost your coin's value dramatically. So, to wrap things up, the 1951D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a great collectible coin. Even if it's damaged, it can still have value, sometimes surprising value, especially if it has unique characteristics. Remember, the coin market fluctuates, and condition is king, but knowledge is power. Knowing what you have can help you get the most from your coin collection. Up the Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, specifically the 1944 Wheat Penny with the D mint mark in fine condition. What makes this coin so special, and how much could it be worth in today's market? Stick around because we're breaking it all down. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most iconic and beloved coins in American history. First introduced in 1909, it was designed by Victor David Brenner and features a profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the famous wheat stalks on the reverse. The Wheat Penny series lasted until 1958, making it a staple for collectors worldwide. Now, focusing on 1944, this year is particularly interesting because it was produced during World War II, and the U.S. Mint was adjusting metal supplies. But what does that mean for the 1944 penny, especially those minted in Denver, marked with a small d first? A quick history lesson. In 1944, pennies were made primarily of copper, as opposed to the 1943 steel pennies made due to copper shortages. The 1944D pennies were minted in Denver and are quite common. Over 1 billion 1944D pennies were struck, so you might think they're not very valuable, but that's where the condition and certain rare errors come into play when we talk about the coin being in fine condition. What does that Mean coin grading is how collectors and dealers assess the quality and preservation of a coin. The grading scale goes from poor, fair, good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, all the way up to uncirculated or mint state of fine grade means the coin shows moderate wear on high points but retains clear details. It's a respectable grade for coins this old, especially if they've been in circulation for the 1944D wheat penny. A fine condition coin will have noticeable wear, especially on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, but the wheat stalks on the reverse will still be visible, though not sharp so. How much is a 1944D Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition worth today? The good news is, these coins are affordable, but can still fetch a nice price depending on condition and collector demand in fine condition. A 1944D wheat penny generally ranges from about $140. If you have a 1944D wheat penny, take a moment to check its condition, look for any mint mark anomalies, and maybe have it graded by a professional if you think it's in better shape. You never know, you might have a hidden treasure. Next up, the Abraham Lincoln wheat penny. Specifically, we're focusing on the 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark, and what makes it valuable even in less than perfect condition. So if you've ever found one of these in your pocket change, or a dusty drawer, stick around because you might just be holding a hidden treasure. First, a little history. The Lincoln wheat penny was minted from 1909 all the way through 1958. The design features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent on the reverse. The 1935 issue was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That's why there's no mint mark on the coin. Philadelphia pennies typically don't have mint marks, unlike those minted in Denver D or San Francisco S now. The 1935 wheat penny isn't rare in the traditional sense. Millions were minted, but its significance comes from its age, historical value, and the fact that it's one of the more common old pennies you might still find in circulation or old coin collections today. Collectors love it because it represents an era of American history, the Great Depression, and is a gateway coin for many new collectors. One thing you've got to understand about coin value is condition. Professional graders assess coins on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. But what if you have a dirty, grimy, heavily circulated 1935 wheat penny? Maybe it's covered in dirt, tarnish, or corrosion. Does it still have value? So, what's the going rate today for a 1935 wheat penny with no mint mark in dirty or poor condition? The good news is, even worn out 1935 pennies can be worth more than a penny good G- for condition dirty penny, around $220. Keep in mind, prices can vary based on market demand, seller, and if the coin has any special errors or unique toning. Dirty 1935 wheat penny in your change, don't clean it yourself. Cleaning coins can actually reduce their value. Instead, keep it safe and consider showing it to a professional coin dealer or grading service if you think it might be in better condition than it looks. Also, for those interested in investing, buying circulated pennies like the 1935 wheat penny in bulk can be a cost-effective way to start a collection. While the standard 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark is not rare, some varieties and errors can fetch higher prices. For example, look for doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual minting anomalies. These are the kinds of coins collectors hunt for and can be worth hundreds or even thousands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1935 wheat penny, smash that like button, subscribe for more coin content, and drop a comment if you've ever found one of these gems in your change. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting. See you next time. Next up, the Abraham Lincoln wheat penny. Specifically, we're focusing on the 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark, and what makes it valuable even in less than perfect condition. So if you've ever found one of these in your pocket change, or a dusty drawer, stick around because you might just be holding a hidden treasure. First, a little history. The Lincoln wheat penny was minted from 1909 all the way through 1958. The design features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent on the reverse. The 1935 issue was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That's why there's no mint mark on the coin. Philadelphia pennies typically don't have mint marks, unlike those minted in Denver D or San Francisco S now. The 1935 wheat penny isn't rare in the traditional sense. Millions were minted, but its significance comes from its age, historical value, and the fact that it's one of the more common old pennies you might still find in circulation or old coin collections today. Collectors love it because it represents an era of American history, the Great Depression, and is a gateway coin for many new collectors. One thing you've got to understand about coin value is condition. Professional graders assess coins on a scale from poor P1 to mint state MS70. But what if you have a dirty, grimy, heavily circulated 1935 wheat penny? Maybe it's covered in dirt, tarnish, or corrosion. Does it still have value? So, what's the going rate today for a 1935 wheat penny with no mint mark in dirty or poor condition? The good news is, even worn out 1935 pennies can be worth more than a penny good G- for condition dirty penny, around $220. Keep in mind, prices can vary based on market demand, seller, and if the coin has any special errors or unique toning. Dirty 1935 wheat penny in your change, don't clean it yourself. Cleaning coins can actually reduce their value. Instead, keep it safe and consider showing it to a professional coin dealer or grading service if you think it might be in better condition than it looks. Also, for those interested in investing, buying circulated pennies like the 1935 wheat penny in bulk can be a cost-effective way to start a collection. While the standard 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark is not rare, some varieties and errors can fetch higher prices. For example, look for doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unusual minting anomalies. These are the kinds of coins collectors hunt for and can be worth hundreds or even thousands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1935 wheat penny, smash that like button, subscribe for more coin content, and drop a comment if you've ever found one of these gems in your change. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! See you next time!